Okay, so well, at this point, we're going to let my mother go ahead with a spoken word.
Praise the Lord, everybody. Praise the Lord. You see a spoken word, she said this word I was going to do. But I want to thank the Lord for the love that you all have shown for our family and for my husband. It's a blessing that right now to be in the land of the living, on top and not on the bottom. And I want y'all to know the word of prayer. Please continue to put the Sampson family in your prayer because we really need it. The one thing about it, love is on board. And I want all of you here to know one thing about the Sampson family, we love each other. Sometimes it's hard for people to say things like that. And everything that we do, regardless of how we feel, we always get on one accord. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be accepted in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Praise the Lord. All right. Now, this is a wife's love. It's in y'all's book. You're going to read along with me. My dearest husband, you never said you were leaving. You never said goodbye. You were gone before I knew it, and only God knew why. A million times I needed you. A million times I cried. If love alone could have saved you, you never would have died. In life, I love you dearly. In death, I love you still. In my heart, you hold a place no one could ever feel. It broke my heart to lose you, but you didn't go alone. For a part of me went with you the day God took you home. My friend, my love, I like this, my lover, my lover. my confidence. Bill, he always called me Bill. The captain of our ship, a man amongst men. Daddy, if we had to choose a word describing you, we would have chose the attributes of great strength, wisdom, determination, knowledge, courage, and perseverance. Even when times were dark in your life, you persevered that much harder. At the tender age of 15, you were diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor that covered over half of your brain. You were told you wouldn't live to reach the age of 25. 21, not only did you surpass the age of 21, you went on to become an amazing husband, an awesome father, and a doting grandfather. You made a way out of no way, taking on any type of employment to provide for us. Because you were such a good provider, we never knew what it was to struggle. We had food on our table, clothes on our backs, and we moved a whole lot too, and many roofs over our heads. Not only did you provide for your immediate family, provisions were made for whomever crossed your threshold. You led by example, reminding us to always trust God. Putting Him first. Through your eyes and testimonies, we learned that at an early age, with God, all things are possible. Even though we didn't always seem appreciative, we always felt blessed and privileged to call you daddy, granddaddy, captain. We are grateful for your tenacity. You never allowed the circumstances of life, such as being diagnosed with a serious illness, brought up in a single-parent home of poverty, to determine the outcome of your life. You went on to become a visionary and a civil rights activist who fought diligently for the downtrodden. You were responsible for youth, the elderly, and people without a voice. Later on in life, at the age of 63, God allowed you to achieve what you consider as your greatest accomplishment. being elected as a Craven County Commissioner. You live by the motto, may the work I've done speak for me. Daddy, you were chosen for the journey that you were given. You always have been, you always will be, our man amongst men. This was written by our baby girl, Betty Sampson. All right. I don't want to let y'all know I appreciate it. And I appreciate the thought that everybody gave. And I want to say that was one dynamite husband. Regardless of what people said regarding me, even the children couldn't tell Sampson anything about me, because I was always number one, number two, because God was number one. I tell you, and he used to say all the time, he said it with children though, I'm ready to go anytime. I said, Sampson, you might be ready to go, but I tell you one thing, I'm not ready to go, and this I have to. And I meant that thing. I really did. I still mean it. I really did. Because I'm telling you, we had, and I want to let everybody know it. This is about Sampson. This is his day. And all our children, everybody graduated from high school, I want y'all to know, my husband and I did not miss one. In those days, they call that PTA. We didn't miss, together we never missed one PTA. And we always, regardless of what our children were in, we were always there. Not only our children, but the neighbors' children too. And whoever else. And I was always engineering something. And whatever I engineered, Sampson always backed me up. I was downtown in court, and the young man came from Ohio. And I found his mother came here, she had nowhere to go. And the judge was trying to put him back in jail. But I tell you this right here. I was on that stand, and I said, wait a minute. I said, he got somewhere to go. I said, he's going home with me. I forgot I didn't call Sam. That's the kind of person Sampson was. And I took him home and his mother. And even after all these years, they still keep in contact with us. And I tell you, regardless of what happened and who came to our door, they were always welcome. And one thing about it, he loved his children. And even though Sampson was dead, both of us had COVID at the same time. But guess what? He had it 3 times. But let me tell you the miracle. All the rich people that went to Craven County Hospital and other hospitals, black and white, God worked this out. Sampson was the only person that let the family come anytime they got ready. Now that was a miracle. That tell you Sampson really did love the Lord, because God was the only one that made that possible. And when he wanted to come home, they allowed him to come home. And that Sunday, the day before, they had everything that he needed. Everything in the house, everything that I needed. Hospital, and even had somebody ready to take care of him. And oh, he was so sweet, and he looked so happy. The little girls, they looked like they weighed about 100 pounds apiece. The one that bought him, and I almost how they did it in the ambulance. But I tell you one thing, he was so happy, and he was such a dear person. And I was so glad. We had 5 days with him, and he wanted to come home so bad. And my grandson, Sakura, said the children wanted to come home another day. But my grandson said, Mama, he's your husband. I said, I know that. And they were so happy that Sap was able to come home. And that night, you know, up until about a half an hour, he was still in his right mind. That was God. But I cannot understand. And I was sitting down talking to him. We were talking. I was talking. I didn't say he was talking. And he was so happy. And I was holding his hand. And you know, after a while, he looked up and honestly, I witnessed this. He had a smile on his face. And he said, he just left us, just like that. God took him home. And whoever he was looking at, he was happy. And I was happy to have become his wife. And I want my children. Look, you wouldn't believe how these children have catered to me, my children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. And that Barbara Jean, she act like I can't do nothing. I mean, she's scared. She worries so much about me. And the boss lady up there in Florida, that Marsha Ann, she's the boss lady. Barbara Jean, though, Lord have mercy. I know she worried for a little bit of there, because she made sure that everything is fine with me. And how many people can say that about their children, and they're old as I am, and they still act like I'm, in charge, which I'm not, though. I think Marsha ain't got in charge. But that's okay. I let them still here. And I want y'all to know God is in the blessing business. And I want y'all to continue to hold God's hand. And I want everybody in the family, they don't treat each other right. You better get right. But say, get right with God and do it now. Say, get right with God and He will show how. Down at the cross, where He shed His blood, get right with God. Get right with God. Praise the Lord.
Amen. Amen.